And we are live.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Gathering Paracast. My name is Stephanie.
And I'm Heidi, and we're here for another fun week with some great guests. I'm super excited, Steph. How about you? You're not excited. No way.
Yeah, me too.
Oh,
I
there
forgot
she
to
is.
say, and we're on the Cryptovania network. We usually say that too, right?
We are excited to be on the
Let's don't
Cryptovania
forget
network
that.
too. Yeah. Yes. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about some fun events that went on this past weekend. And so we're just going to jump right into it because we have our guests here tonight with us.
Yeah.
Welcome, Dave and Kathy from Para911 SCIA.
Hello.
Right.
There's your logo.
SCIA.
Right? Sioux City, Iowa.
Oh, I see. Okay, I was going to say, what does SCIA mean? Okay.
So is there another Para911? I didn't even look it up and see.
No, it's actually just Para911, but we throw the SCIA on there.
Okay.
Occasionally. Yeah.
So you know where to find you.
Right.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Well, I saw you guys this weekend down in SCIA, and you had an event this weekend. So why don't you share with everybody your Paracon that you guys hosted?
Yeah, it was our second annual Spirits of the Roundhouse Paracon held at the Sioux City Railroad Museum. We kind of got into a partnership with the Railroad Museum after they've had several of their guests and volunteers report different things happening down there. So we decided to start doing some paranormal things down there, and the Paracon was one of them that I came up with to do, since we don't really have anything like that in Sioux City. I know there's other ones in Iowa, Nebraska, and South Dakota has different variations, but in Sioux City we don't really have anything. So I kind of wanted to bring it to the area and expose people to it and let them know what it's about.
Yeah, it's a fun convention type setting that we have, where we bring paranormal teams together, different haunted locations. People who I think we did some Reiki. So
some tarot cards, things like that,
just to bring something different to the community.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for some reason, I don't know why, but in Sioux City, it's almost kind of like paranormal or talking about spirits or ghosts is almost taboo in a way. I don't understand that. Maybe it's because there's so many real conservative people here or something. I'm not sure. But we're trying to break that mold.
Yeah.
So hopefully, next year being our third year doing the Paracon, starting early and, getting the advertising out there and stuff like that, we can make next year's even bigger. You've seen the location, you've seen how big it is. It's like 33 acres of property. And, my vision of what I would like to see is like a lot of the green space that there was with vendors covering, vendors along the sidewalks and stuff, and then vendors inside the car shop building where we had all the vendors at this time. But have as many different vendors that we could have out there and really draw in the people for that. Like I said, it's a partnership with the Railroad Museum, and I don't know if you guys heard or not, but last year in June, we actually had a flood down here, and the Railroad Museum suffered quite a bit of damage. They had over 4 feet of water in areas down there that damaged a lot of stuff. And now after everything's cleaned up and they reopened, they started finding other stuff that needs work and that's been damaged.
Wow.
from the effects of the flood.
All the contaminated waters and
the more, the more stuff that we can do down there for them, like the Paracon and other paranormal type events, or what we call night shift events, which we can talk about that too, to help kind of raise some money for down there to kind of help fix things. I think they're estimating like over $2 million yet in damages that need to be fixed. So
wow. Wow.
Yeah, that's why we do the Paracon. That's why we do other events down there, is to try to help raise money, go towards the museum.
And it's really just to get the community to know what's there
Right.
at the Sioux City Railroad Museum. I've lived here my whole entire life, and we've heard about the Railroad Museum, but we never really went to visit. And we were just shocked the first time we went down there of how large it is and all the different historical buildings that are there and the history. It's just an incredible place.
Yeah.
So was there a good turnout? Did you have a lot of people attend?
We had more people than last year. Still not to where we want it to be. So we're just going to have to figure out some partnerships this coming year and make it bigger next year.
Well, it sounds like, with all that space that you guys have, with, like you said, the outdoor space that's there, it's almost like you could call it Parafest, like a like Renaissance Fest, or it's Parafest, because there's so much outdoor space there.
Yes.
It's wild. True. It's really big. It's very spread out and very cool. It's beautiful.
So I'm curious. So you've obviously several times, I'm sure, investigated the museum. What have you found? I mean, what kind of evidence have you obtained from there?
Well, have you guys seen the documentary Local Ghosts? Have you seen that yet? Okay. Local Ghosts was filmed by Motion Picture Video.
And they're out of Las Vegas.
And how that came about is when I was contacted by a high school student, actually, about going down to the museum and doing an investigation, and he was going to do a paper on it. And so he introduced me to Larry, and we had just filmed another documentary at the Pierce Street Mansion in Sioux City. And as soon as I started talking to Larry and stuff about the museum, I was like, oh, why don't we film down here? So we filmed down there. And
Motion Picture Video came out to film us.
Yep.
Yeah. And they did the documentary called Local Ghosts.
Yep. And basically during that investigation, we had all kinds of stuff happening. We had running and walking on the roof of the building. And a lot of that is because when the workers worked there was people that had to be on the roof, in the wintertime to shovel snow off of the roof. And then they also had to have people up there that would drop like a canvas type, gunny sack, I guess you could call it, type thing, down over the smokestacks on the steam engines so that the steam would go outside instead of being inside while they're working on stuff. So we get a lot of activity of running and walking and stomping on the roof. And a lot of times you can get it to happen on command too. You could say, hey, could you run from the left side of the roof to the right? And you'll hear, I mean, it's not like creaking or the building settling and stuff like that. It's actually like footsteps, like hard sole boots running across the roof. I mean, it's just loud and very noticeable.
Wow.
So we get a lot of that kind of activity, shadow activity. We use a music box, a paranormal music box. We've had that go off several times on command, and usually where we have it pointing towards an area where there's nobody at and nobody could, be within range of it to make it go off. So activity with the meters and stuff like that. And then myself during the filming, not one time ever since I've been investigating since 2008 have I ever been scratched. I've been touched, I've been pushed and things like that. But my son and I was investigating a spot outside. And at the time we were doing it, we didn't know what the area used to be. And as we're in there and investigating, asking questions and stuff like that, we finish and we walk out of that spot onto the concrete sidewalk. And as soon as we got there on the sidewalk, it was like somebody just hit me in the head with a hammer. It's just really bad, intense headache all over. And I started getting shaky and stuff, and I have a seizure disorder. So I go and I sit down to try to, make it pass, try to get rid of the headache and see if it would pass. And it didn't. We ended up going inside the dining car to get out of the area. And from there, I had a couple seizures in there. We made it to the car and had some more seizures there. So then Kathy decides, I'm going to take him home. So we pull out and get onto the highway. And as soon as we get onto the highway, I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, where are we going? Why are we leaving? We still got filming to do. We're still filming.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
She told me what happened. And when we got home and the next day, I was like, I said, somebody there was telling me that they feel like they're being forgotten and they want to be remembered. And we told this to Larry.
So Larry is the historian,
the curator,
Larry Obermeyer,
and his family kind of owns it, I guess you could say. But he's the curator and stuff like that down there. But we told him about what happened in that spot, and he kind of chuckled a little bit. And he says, well, I never told you guys what happened there. And he told us the story of a guy named Charles Crawford. And Charles Crawford was a war veteran. I want to say World War II or one. Because this would have been in the 1900s.
Yeah, the 20s, I think.
So probably World War One. But he got injured and he came home and he got married. And then 2 weeks after he got married, he got hired at the Railroad Museum and started his job there. And his first night working, he had to get on the steam locomotives and he was to shovel off all the hot embers and stuff into what's called a slurry pit. And it's just water, basically a deep pit with water in it, and you dump all this coal and hot embers and stuff into it. So he finished cleaning out this boiler and stuff on this steam locomotive. And as he's stepping off the train, he thought he was stepping onto solid ground, but he actually ended up stepping into the slurry pit and fell in, and he ended up drowning in the slurry pit.
That's awful.
Yeah, it is.
The only way they could get him out was with grappling hooks.
Oh,
and that happened in that spot where I got affected.
Mm-hmm.
And, and then I told Larry, I said, he thinks he's being forgotten. He thinks that, he came there and worked one day, lost his life, and it's like, that's it. There's no more talk about him. It happened, it's done with, and he's just feeling like he's forgotten. So with that investigation and the stuff that we uncovered there, they commissioned a mural for him that's now on display when you walk into the atrium
of the roundhouse.
There's now a big mural there dedicated to him.
Yeah.
So
nobody forgets.
Right, exactly.
And I don't have that kind of stuff happen to me
never.
like that at investigations. as I told my sister one time at an investigation, we don't do crazy here. You know,
No.
we don't do the hear a noise and run and scream and freak out. You know, we hear a noise or we hear a voice or something, you know, we're going to go see what it is.
Mhm.
You know,
Yes.
it's like a fireman, you know, we don't, you know, firemen don't run from burning buildings. They run into them,
Right.
you know.
Yep.
Yep.
The paranormal is kind of the same thing, you know, at least for me. You know, I hear a noise or something. I want to know what that is, where it came from,
Yeah.
you know, what made it.
Mhm.
And I'm going to do everything I can to either try to catch it or try to figure out what it was that caused it. So, you know, that
Absolutely.
experience with Charles Crawford, that definitely,
Yeah.
definitely opened my eyes and made me so that I'm a little bit more cautious
Mhm.
about things. Of course, Larry didn't want to give us a lot of information about what happened down there just because he wanted to see what we would find or
Yeah.
what we would come across. And
Sure.
we kind of proved his point, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
And Larry
So-
Obermeyer is actually like our honorary team member, because every time we do an investigation down there, or even when other teams come down to investigate, Larry likes to kind of hang out, just kind of in the background to help validate things. So it's really interesting because we can come up with something, or you know, somebody might feel something or have a name, and Larry can say, yeah, you know, this is what happened during that time. Or if we don't know, he's always taking notes, and then he'll follow up with us later
Mhm.
and see if he can kind of tie any of those loose ends together.
Sure. Cool.
Mhm.
he had one person who had talked about being on the dining car and feeling like somebody had gotten stabbed in the neck.
Oh.
And it turned out that there was a chef and a waiter that got into a fight, and the waiter ended up getting stabbed in the neck.
And actually, I didn't tell you about this, but on our investigation that we had after the Paracon on Saturday night, we ended up having about 43 people who stayed to investigate. That was probably our largest investigation. We all sat in the dining car, had the lights out, and there was a couple of people that had apps on their phones, and they came up with the name of Frank Shoulder and Knife. I didn't even tell you about that. But yeah,
Oh.
so I mean, nobody there knew any of that. And then Larry and I just looked at each other, and then Larry had to tell the story of how Frank and what was the other guy's name that got into the fight?
It was like a foreign name. It wasn't.
Well, the two gentlemen that got into the fight, but then Frank got stabbed in the shoulder with a knife. So yeah,
Wow.
interesting.
I want to know how you kept 43 people quiet enough to investigate it all.
They were so, I know. Usually we don't. Usually we split up into groups, but
Yeah.
the train car will actually hold 48. So Larry wanted to see if we could all fit in there, and we did. So
Amazing.
I always give a big spiel too before we start investigating, especially with big groups like that, you know. And you know, we use the digital recorders. We use the Zoom digital recorder, and they're so sensitive, you know, and pick up slightest little whisper, you know.
Yep.
So I always make, you know, the big spiel, you know, that, you know, we have a big group, and you know, while we're investigating, one of our biggest rules that we have is that while investigating, you do not whisper.
Yep.
If you are going to talk like you normally talk, and then just say, hey, that was me, so and so, you know, so that you're tagging it on the recorder, so that when somebody's going back through and listening to it, they can say, okay, well, what I heard was that person making a noise, you know.
Yeah.
So that usually kind of works to kind of keep them from wanting to do a lot of gossiping and whispering. Makes them want to ask more questions and ask them out loud.
Yeah.
Good. So you had a good investigation on Saturday?
We did.
Good.
The roundhouse, we did end up hearing the footsteps. And, there was no wind outside. Some people like to say it's just the building settling. It, I mean,
Or temperature
or
fluctuation.
temperature fluctuations or the wind, but there was no wind out. And even if there was wind, it's that building is just sometimes it's very, very active and other times it's not. When we had all those people in there that night, super active. You could hear things all over the building, footsteps. And then later on, when everybody was out doing their own investigation, I came back into that building with just a few other people and it was totally quiet. Nothing happening then.
Wow.
I think just all the energy.
Mhm.
The workers are
Yeah.
still there and they just enjoy people coming and visiting and enjoying the property as well.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
when we recorded there, and I think
Mhm.
it's in the documentary.
Mhm.
I heard a whistle,
Yeah.
like somebody trying to whistle, and it was over by where they had the old steam locomotive at the time, which was kind of by the Holocaust rails exhibit out there. But I heard a whistle and I caught it
Mhm.
and heard it with my own ears because I'm like, did you guys hear that? They're
Mm.
like, what? I was like, somebody just tried whistling,
Mhm.
and I can't whistle worth anything. But it was definitely somebody trying to whistle, like they're just trying to get your attention. So that was
Awesome.
pretty cool because there was nobody on that side of the building
Mhm.
that could have, that would have whistled over there because
Mhm.
we were
Well,
all on the other end.
and it's not a populated area.
No.
Like you said, there's acres and
Mhm.
then around it is not much,
Right.
in the way of you're not going to have foot traffic. There's
Mhm.
a road out there, but it's not real close to the buildings. There's this
Mhm.
huge parking lot and everything. So, I mean, you're not going to have just people walking around whistling
Right.
Right.
right near the location. So that's interesting.
Mhm.
And every investigation is different.
Mhm.
It's, we've come into contact with, with many different people, and it's the same thing with a couple of the other groups that have come. One group in particular has been there like 3 times already, and each time they have a different experience, and they come up with something different.
Hmm.
There's been, I want to say, at least 7 or more tragic deaths out at that place.
On the property. Mhm.
Wow.
That was operational as a rail yard.
Mhm.
Wow.
But then you also have the river right there too.
Yeah.
And there's been some,
Mhm.
There's been
unfortunately, there's been some
drownings.
tragedies out there
Yeah.
too. And then nearby property.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay. So it's an active place.
Yeah.
very.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We haven't even begun to scratch the surface of what is there, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many times have you investigated there?
At least 10 times.
At least.
Okay.
Yeah. Over the last
So you're
couple of
pretty
years.
familiar with
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
location, but also probably it's opening up more questions
Yep.
every time you
Mhm.
investigate, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
And they're getting ready to do some archaeological stuff
Mhm.
out there too. So,
Hmm.
I mean, we did some last year, and we found one cool thing that we can't figure out how it got there and why it was there. And it was a silver button. And if I remember Larry saying correctly, it also had some gold, some gold stuff on it as well. And I can't remember now what the name of the button was, but it was from a maker or manufacturer, not from around here. And it's kind of a rare button.
So do you think it could have been someone who was like a passenger?
Either a passenger or a worker, possibly. There were like some different types of coveralls that some of the rail workers wore, and they had, it was kind of fancy
Mhm.
for them. So it could be, something off of that, or, you know, it could have been, you know, a passenger even. So we haven't really figured that out yet. I know that he's shown it to quite a few different people, and you're just like, that shouldn't have been found in that area. You know, why is that there?
Yeah.
Because it's a rare kind of button. So
Well, I guess you're gonna have to keep investigating.
That's
Right.
right.
See what comes up.
Yep.
Sure.
Awesome. So tell us what you have coming up. Anything coming up that you want folks to know about?
The Halloween event is coming up, and that is the two biggest days on that are going to be the 17th,
No,
or the 18th and 19th,
October.
Saturday and a Sunday.
Mhm.
It's what we call Halloween, and we're going to do 2 days this year of trunk or treating. Last year we did 1 day, and we were slammed.
Yeah, we had probably over 4,000 people in a couple of
Whoa.
hours.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So we're gonna do 2 year. We're gonna do 2 days this year.
Yeah.
We're gonna actually invite our local fire, police, and EMS to come out from a couple of different departments and surrounding departments from other areas, and then have them do a trunk or treat 1 day, and then the second day we're gonna try to get like a local car club or something to come out, and then just normal people with their vehicles, and do a second day of trunk or treating. So
Wow.
be lots of stuff out there for the kids to do too.
Yeah, we'll have some crafts and pumpkins and some snacks and
face painter,
just fun stuff.
Great.
Cool.
Mhm.
Wow.
probably costume
Oh
contests
yeah,
and stuff
screen
like that.
contest. Yeah.
I know that I think there's I don't know the dates exactly, but there's going to be on a Friday night, I believe it is, there's going to be an adult dance called the Dance with the Dead or something like that, or Dance with the Spirits, for adults, for a dance there. And that's going to be DJ'd by a local radio personality here in town. And then on that Saturday, they're going to have a zombie prom for teenagers from high school, for all the different high schools from around the tri-state area that can come to that. So
That sounds fun.
it's you know, some fun for, you know, everybody, and, you know, especially for the kids. You know, there's not a lot for the kids to do around here for stuff like that. So we're kind of hoping to have a good turnout for that. Been in contact already with a lot of the schools and stuff like that. So hoping for a good turnout on that one.
Great. Awesome.
Well, very good. Do you have a website that people can find you, or Facebook page, or how do you get the word out?
Yep, we have our Facebook, which is Para space 911 space Sioux City or SCIA.
Okay.
We have that, and then we also do have para911.net. I just set that. I just got done rebuilding the webpage. So that is out there, and we will be working to put stuff on that. And then also, if people want to look up the Sioux City Railroad Museum online, they can find their webpage out there, as well as their Facebook page, and that'll have all the events out there too. That's coming up.
Great.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, well, thanks for being on tonight. And it sounds like, you know, you're growing the Paracon event, and it takes a while to get those things going. Believe me, we know.
Yeah.
Yep, it does. It does.
I mean, it really does. And it takes a lot of work. So kudos to you, because our team has done a few of them, and oh my gosh, it's like,
it does take a lot of work. It takes.
Oh,
But it's so much fun too.
it is fun. It is fun. After we always say that, but then we're like, oh, Dad,
I know.
like, you know.
Right.
Well, kudos to you for being on this, because normally then we don't want anything to do with this for a while. So yeah, thank you, Dave and Kathy, and good luck in the for future endeavors and your Paracon and your
All right.
ghost hunting. And next time, maybe we'll have you on and you'll have some evidence to share with everyone. That would be
Yes,
awesome.
we will.
And then we got to
Absolutely.
get you. We got to get you down here too, so you can investigate.
Yeah.
With us,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I know. I
I
wish
think
I
my
could
team
have
would love it.
stayed. I wish I could have stayed for the investigation. I just had too
Yeah.
much going on this weekend, but
Yeah.
next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, busy. We're, the calendars are always just full.
Yeah,
It's
right?
really
Yeah.
awful. So, yeah. So, well, thank you for being on. And thank you for everyone watching the show tonight.
Yes, everybody in the chat
especially
room.
the
Lots
troop-
of chatter in the chat
Yeah,
room.
lots
Thanks
of
for everybody
Yeah.
for being here, and thank you to Jason Trost, our producer, and Cryptovania TV. We are so glad to be
sure
with
do
you
love it
all.
here.
And
Yeah.
yes, and we have next week off. We want to make sure we
We do.
let everybody know for the holiday week. We're not
Mhm.
filming next week. We're going to move our Paranormal Smorgasbord to the week after. So
Yes.
stay tuned
So-
for, I think it's September 10th.
I think so.
Is our
Yep. I
Paranormal
think that's it.
Smorgasbord.
Yep. So that'll be
So
our
So that'll be,
Smorgasbord.
so we're off next week. So have a good holiday week, everybody.
Yeah. Have a good
And
one. Thanks
we'll
for
see y'all
watching.